All right, we're going to call this optional lesson 6, having to do with using Google Calendar and integrating a calendar into your website. So one of the things you may have noticed from looking at some of the other teachers' websites out there on the Shen website is that they've added a Google Calendar that shows assignments that they're giving. So for instance, I'll just pick the Acadia and I'll say 17-1. And you will see that on their page, they have this calendar that by subject, it shows what assignments are coming up for the students. And the really nice thing from a student perspective is once your team or your group of teachers puts up a calendar like this, the student can click this plus Google Calendar and it will automatically put these events on their personal calendar. Whenever something's scheduled, it will appear on their calendar for them. It actually adds your calendar as a calendar on theirs. So it's really nice. This calendar on the website also looks like one calendar, but it actually is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 separate calendars that are combined together. Think of them as sheets of laminate that you're stacking on an overhead to put together a composite image. So that's what we're doing here, is putting a composite image together for the whole entire middle school team. So how do we go about doing this with Google Sites? Well, first we have to start with Google Calendar. So it's calendar.google.com, or from your little Rubik's Cube, you can choose the calendar over here. You do have to be logged in with your Shen schools, just like everything else we were doing. All right, so you're getting a look at my personal calendars here, so I'll turn those off real quick. And then I'll turn on some of my additional calendars so that there's a few more events on down here. All right. Actually, this one I need on. There we go. So if I wanted to share a calendar with people, I don't need to I can share any one of these calendars. And obviously you can see I've got a whole bunch of separate calendars that have been added here. I can uncheck them and those layers disappear from my calendar, just like I'm taking sheets of overhead off, acetate off of an overhead. Okay. To add a new calendar for my class, I simply click Create New Calendar and give it the name of the class. So maybe this is English 11. Okay. Down here, I do have to say share this calendar with others and make it public if I want to do this on the website. Okay. I then also have to share it with all of the teammates, or at least with the teammate who will be putting together the website under their Google Sites account, so that it's available to them to stack together on the website. So here you would enter their 8-letter username at Shen Schools and say add person. And then they will be able to put together that composite calendar of all these sub-calendars. If you're only working with yourself and you're putting 4 or 5 of your own calendars up, that step's not necessary. If you're working with a team, however, it is necessary at that point. All right? So I've got my settings for my calendar all set, and it's been shared, and now I can simply go back to my calendar and add events by double-clicking. When I add an event, it's best to click the Edit Event button so I get the full view. One of the reasons for doing that is here is where you decide which of your sub-calendars it's going to appear on. By default, it's going to always try to put it on your main one, but you want to switch it to that class one. Okay? So then you're going to give the event a title. Then you're going to come down here. The color does not matter in this case. You can give it a location. All right, any other details or descriptions you want. You can add attachments from your Google Drive. If you do that, however, the person viewing the calendar appointment has to have access to the attachment or they won't be able to open it. Okay, so in terms of giving rights in your Google Drive. So I've got my event put on my calendar now. Okay, so I got to switch that calendar on so we can see it. There's that event. It appears as a color block because when I did the event, I did it as an all-day event versus an event with a particular time. So that's something to keep in mind when you're adding these events to your calendar for the kids, is you might want to choose all day in that case, but that's up to you. Okay, so I've now got my event on my calendar. How do I add a calendar to my website, or how do I add more than one calendar to my website? Okay, so simply come back over here to the page we want to add it on. We're now clicking on the pencil up here to go into edit mode, which is where we just were. I go insert, this is how easy it is, calendar. I pick that calendar from the list of ones Google is showing me that are in my account or that somebody shared with my account. I click select. Okay, it appears up here in the color that it's going to be. I can choose a different color if I want by clicking on that little X arrow over there. Okay? Height is how much of your page it will take up. 600 is not a bad. Width, you leave blank, it'll fill the spot in the box where it's going to go, whether you want it to be a day, month, or a week calendar. The only one I suggest you turn off down here are these include title ones and show calendar name ones. Those are important to turn off if you're going to put multiple calendars stacked together. Okay, to do that, we simply click this display another calendar button. It pulls up my list of calendars again. And so if we were doing it as a team, I would choose one of my fellow teammates' calendars to add. Notice they appear in a different color, and you can change that color for them too. You click Save, and you can say Center here. And then we save our editing of the page, and our calendar shows up just like it was before. Notice I got these two up here. The reason being is I forgot to uncheck those boxes again. So how do I go in and edit after I've added a calendar? It's simple. I go back to my edit page. I click on that calendar app, and I click on this little properties button. You can see those got toggled back on when I added Gail's calendar. So I simply uncheck them and say save. And then when I save my page, they no longer appear here. And what I have now is a composite calendar of multiple subjects. So that's how you add events to your Google Calendar and share it with people, and then how you add that into your website.